Hi MFM crew, and welcome friends. I am Sonia, multifaceted me, and I am participating in Kimberly Davis's second Tribute to Mom collab. And I am excited about the tribute to my mother, Mrs. Effie Lois Frederick. Now, to tell you about this great lady, she was a very level-headed woman. She loved to learn and went back to school several times during her life. She actually, before her health started to take a turn, even trained my oldest brother's wife to take her position as the director of a county organization. I'm very grateful to my mom because of all the things that she poured into me. I was able to pour into young ladies that I went to high school with and even into college with, because just because you have a wonderful relationship with your mom does not necessarily mean that the next young lady does. And because of how she loved on me, I was able to share a lot of things with friends and acquaintances that not only blessed my life, but eventually blessed theirs. Now, a funny thing that my brothers and I used to do when we became adults is whenever we came to visit her, we would always talk about her when she was in the room like she was not in the room. And like we all had individual moms. So I might say to my brothers, let me tell you something that your mom did. Your mom, X, Y, and Z. And she would just sit there and listen to us and just shake her head. And then my mother had a mischievous side. And sometimes when she would do things, I would say, and you wonder why your children act like they do. And she would just bust out laughing. Now, my mother and I had a wonderful relationship. I was not a perfect daughter, and Mom was not perfect either. But we loved each other dearly. And I have met so many young ladies who shared that, you know, they can't stand their mother, and I can't even fathom that. And that's so sad. To know that there are young women in this world that have that kind of relationship with their mom. So I really, really am blessed. Now, I had many names for my mom. Her name again is Effie Lois Frederick. She is affectionately known by her family and her classmates and her friends as Effie Lee. Remember, I'm from Georgia, and I'm Southern, so that's how that came about. But I call Mama a little bit of everything. I call Mama Mama, Mom, Mamra. I called her Miss Effie. I call her Miss Phoebe. I call her Miss Fifi. And let me tell you about those two names, Miss Phoebe and Miss Fifi. So, Mom had a guy that used to come and take care of her yard work. And he thought her name was Miss Phoebe. And she corrected him, and then he started calling her Miss Fifi. He never could get Effie right. And so when she told me that, I laughed. And so I would start calling. I was like, Miss Phoebe, Miss Fifi. Now, another thing about me and my mom's relationship is we both love seafood. Oh my gosh. We will try to shut a seafood place down, just like way back in the day when me and my girlfriend used to club and we would shut the club down. Me and Mom would shut a seafood place down. I love it, love it, and so did she. And whenever I would come home to visit, we would always go and get our nails done together, and then we would hit the seafood restaurant. Another thing that the both of us had in common that we loved was we both loved a good commercial. Oh my gosh. If you remember way back in the day when Burger King had this commercial about where's the beef, and they had this commercial with these two little old people, the little old man and little old lady, and he was like, slow down, you're driving like a bat out of hell. Oh my gosh. And that carried on into my adulthood. So when I moved away and got married and all that kind of stuff, if my mama saw a good commercial, she was going to ring me up and be like, girl, did you see? So we were crazy like that. And as an adult, I would call my mom. And if my mom did not answer that phone, I would call her work phone and her cell phone and her house phone, all successively right behind each other. And I would leave a message on her answering machine saying, Miss Phoebe, you are not grown, and when I call you, you need to answer this phone, because I will get in my car and come to Georgia to see about you. And she loved it. She'd be like, oh, my daughter is crazy. Don't pay her no attention. She's not well. So let me tell you a funny story about me and my mom. So I am absolutely the chocolate version of this lady. I have my father's eyes, but I look like my mother. And so we were in the beauty supply shop one time. And so we were just talking, and we were looking at hair and wigs and this and that and the other. And I was like, Mom, you know, so-and-so, what you think about that? And she was showing me stuff, and we were just talking and giggling, you know, and carrying on. And so this man had come in the shop, and there's nowhere that my mother can go that someone does not know her. And she just has a sweet, bubbly personality, so everybody loves her. So he walks in and he said, Effie, and she turned, hey, how you doing? And he said, he looked at me and he looked at her and he was like, is that your daughter? And she just kind of cut her eyes at him and smiled. And do you know what he did? He bent down and looked back up at both of us and said, yeah, that's your daughter. See, that one right. That's one right. But I was talking to one of my homeboys the other day, and I am my mother's daughter. I also came up under two parents that would beat the black off you. If you are out of order, oh yes, honey, it ain't no time out. It's I'm gonna bust your behind, and that's the real deal. And it wasn't no I'm gonna pull you outside either. They gonna knock your block off right in that spot. And my mother, oh, let me tell you what, there ain't a quarterback in this world that's got a better arm than my mom, because my brothers was always doing something, always getting in trouble, and my mom, they would take off and start running. Mama wasn't gonna run after the little boy. She would pick up a shoe, boom. I used to laugh at my brother. I was like, y'all the stupidest little boys I have ever seen in my life. I was like, don't you know these people gonna kill you? And you know mama ain't gonna run after. She was like, I'm running after these boys. I'm gonna bust them down with whatever I pick up. And she would tear them up. Bam! And then, oh my gosh, you know your kingdom was getting ready to get torn down. If my daddy walked in that back door and she said, Benny Frederick, your children, oh, that's a wrap. It's not if you're going to get beat, it's when you're going to get. Because he'll let you go on and you can eat dinner and do your chores and wash up take your bath for the night and all of that. And then he come right on in there and tear that tail up. And my brothers know, you do not disrespect your mother. I will clean your clock. And that is one thing that I will say about my parents. They were a united front. You could not play them against each other. Because if we went to Dad and said, Dad, can I do so-and-so and so? He was like, did you ask your mom? And we said, yes, sir. He was like, and what did she say? If your answer was she said no, you was going to get beat right there on the spot. Because you already got your answer. That's the kind of parent. We had real parents, honey. We was raised. Yes, indeed. But I love her so much. She still talks loudly in my ear every single day. And it's so funny because sometimes I can walk past a mirror and I will have to take a double take because it's almost like she jumped out at me and said, hey, Sonia, how are you? You know, and usually I'm never sad on Mother's Day. I don't find myself being mournful or teary or anything like that. But I want to tell you something that happened to me last week. I was out shopping at lunch. And I had gone into Hamrick's. And when I walked in the door, I saw this short lady, bright skin, from the back. And I looked at her immediately and I was like, wow, she's about mom's size, about mom's height, about mom's complexion. So I go on in the store and I'm looking around and, you know, doing whatever. I pass her again. And she looks at me and she smiles and she goes on about her business. We kept crossing each other's path in that store till finally she walked past me, in front of me, with her back to me, and I ended up reaching out to her before I even realized, and I had tapped her on her shoulder. And I caught myself off guard, and she turned around and she had the most pleasantest smile. And I said, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I said, but you remind me so much of my mom. She didn't look like my mother, but she had my mother's size, height, and complexion. And I said, and that's what I told her. I said, I'm sorry, I don't mean to. I said, but I saw you when I first came in, and somehow I just kept noticing you throughout the store. And she looked at me and she smiled, and then she reached her hand for me. And I put my hand immediately in her hand, and I started to break down. And she said, how long has it been? And I said, she passed in 2010. And she said, okay. I said, but, you know, I don't know what this is because I'm usually good because I had a wonderful mother. We had a wonderful relationship. And she just held my hand as I was talking to her. And she said, oh, that's so wonderful to hear because you don't hear that very much anymore. And she said, maybe I'm your guardian angel standing on behalf of your mom to tell you that you're such a beautiful woman, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. And it just took my breath away. And then she lightly turned my hand loose, and she turned around, and she walked off, and I said, I will have a wonderful day. And I went on out the store teary-eyed, and I was like, what just happened? So I called my brother, and I told my brother, and then he told me about an experience that he had. And for some reason, all these years, I've just not been able to allow myself to know the exact date that my mother died. It was like a block, just would not let me keep the actual date. I knew the year, but I could not keep the actual date in my mind. And my brother said, well, you know what today is, right? And I said, what? He said, Sonia, today is the day Mama passed. She passed on this date on a Sunday. And I was like, oh my goodness, that's too much. But, you know, one thing that I'll say about my mother, from us being small children, she always told us about God. She always told us about God. Now, she wasn't perfect, and she could turn a phrase too. You push her. And she certainly did not raise perfect children. But she always, like, I don't care what is going on in this world, you hold on to God. So I was in a pageant one time, and that was my 10th grade year. And there were questions asked of all the contestants. And when I got up, they asked me, who would I say is the biggest influence in my life? And my mother was sitting right in front at the edge of the stage. And I looked at her and I smiled. And I said, my mother and God. And my mother's face went, and I was like, oh my God, what did I do? What did I do? And when then I had to step back in my place, and the other contestants were asked their question and gave their response. And when we went off that stage, my mama was right behind me. And she grabbed me and she turned me around, because she was good for grabbing you by the shoulders and shaking you if you were out of order. She grabbed me and turned me, and she said, let me tell you something. I don't care how much you love me. You don't put nobody ahead of God. Do you understand me? I was like, yes, ma'am. Girl, I was shook. I thought I was getting ready to die, because you don't understand. My parents, they got a way of looking you in your face, and you feel your kingdom crumbling. Because I'm telling you, I had real parents. But, yeah, that is what I like to share with you as far as my tribute to my queen. And it's funny because whenever I send pictures to my brother, he's like, look at you. You look just like Mom. You look just like her. When I go home, they be like, look at Effie. And that's such a blessing to me, because truly I am blessed. So, Kimberly, thank you so much for putting on this tribute to Mom, because it is wonderful to continue to think about her and to share with you the woman from which I came. All right, this is Sonia, Multifaceted Me. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.